The story of Jeffrey Epstein is incredibly complex due to his vast network of connections to powerful people in politics and international business. His own character was described as reclusive, and he often avoided publicity while mixing in elite social circles that attracted a great deal of media attention. In this video, I am sticking exclusively to what I believe to be demonstrable, with the evidence we have available, and will not be exploring hypotheticals or conspiracy theories. Jeffrey Epstein was the son of a Brooklyn school aide and a New York groundskeeper, and worked as a teacher at a Manhattan school in the late 1970s. He moved into finance through his friendship with Alan Ace Greenberg, whose children attended the school at which he taught. Epstein impressed Greenberg with his mathematical abilities, considering him to be a wasted talent in such an inauspicious job. In 1978, Greenberg offered him a low-level position at investment bank Bear Stearns, which collapsed during the subprime mortgage crisis of 2008. Epstein displayed talent for the work and quickly rose through the ranks. In 1981, Epstein was asked to leave Bear Stearns under unknown circumstances and set up his own financial consulting firm, Intercontinental Assets Group, Inc. He described this as being a high-level bounty hunter, as he assisted his clients with the recovery of stolen money. Epstein was successful in this endeavor. In 1987, Stephen Hoffenberg, the chair of Tower Financial Corporation, an international Ponzi scheme that collapsed in 1993 and alleged that Epstein was part of the Ponzi scheme, hired Epstein as a consultant, paying him $25,000 per month. In 1988, while still at Tower Financial Corporation, Epstein founded his own financial management firm, J. Epstein & Co. He formed the company to manage the assets of clients with over $1 billion in wealth. Epstein required his clients to give him power of attorney over their assets. He charged an exorbitant fee and took complete control of their money. He allegedly found himself with a variety of high-powered international clients, although publicly only one could be identified. Victoria's Secret CEO Leslie Wexner, who would later claim that Epstein misappropriated millions in funds. From here, he used his company as a springboard for his own wealth and influence, creating a complex web of relationships with the richest and most powerful people in the world. Epstein seemed to display significant talent in this regard, solving the problems his clients faced and amassing a great personal fortune in the process. He used his wealth and connections to court and finance leading scientists in their endeavors, such as Martin Nowak, Lawrence Krauss, and Stephen Hawking. He hosted scientific conferences around the world in exotic locations, inviting the best and brightest to find new research projects to fund. This had a mixed reception from the academics in question, ranging from unbridled praise for Epstein's intellectual ability to eye-rolling disdain. But it was a core feature of his social life, which was otherwise well known to be licentious. It is important to note that Jeffrey Epstein had hundreds of connections to the richest and most powerful people in the world. He was part of the international elite and a well-connected socialite. As such, he was pictured with many different people in many different places, and the depth and scope of his relationships with these people is often difficult to discern. Meeting someone at a party or multiple parties is a common occurrence in such social circles and does not necessarily denote a personal relationship, although in the case of Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, there does appear to have been a friendship with Epstein. Trump had met Epstein sometime in the late 1980s or early 1990s, where the two were photographed and filmed moving in the same high-powered social circles. Trump and Epstein had become good friends, and were often seen together until 2004, where the pair had a falling out from a dispute arising from exclusive Palm Beach real estate that they both wished to own. It appears that from that point onwards, the two were no longer friends. In 2002, Epstein was profiled by New York Magazine, which quoted Donald Trump as saying, "He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life." After 2004, the pair were no longer seen together in public. According to a Daily Beast investigation, Epstein appears to have courted former President Bill Clinton throughout the 1990s, attending several White House events and donating to the renovation that Clinton undertook. In 2002, Clinton travelled with Epstein on his private jet to Africa. A spokesman for Clinton said at the time, "Jeffrey is both a highly successful financier and a committed philanthropist with a keen sense of global markets and an in-depth knowledge of 21st century science. I especially appreciated his insights and generosity during the recent trip to Africa to work on democratization, empowering the poor, citizen service, and combating HIV/AIDS. Clinton's spokesman claims the former president took 4 trips on Epstein's private jet between 2002 and 2003 in connection to the Clinton Foundation, which Epstein is recorded as having given a very modest $25,000 donation. In 2015, Gawker published the flight logs that suggested Clinton had flown at least a dozen times with Epstein, and in 2016, Fox News reported that Clinton had flown at least 26 times. Trump is only recorded to have flown once, in 1997. Trump and Clinton appear to be tied to Epstein in the person of British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell is the daughter of billionaire media baron Robert Maxwell, owner of several British tabloids. By the time of his death in 1991, Robert Maxwell was heavily in debt. Trump had been a guest on Robert Maxwell's yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, in 1989, and even before her father's death, Ghislaine Maxwell had been building a strong social network based on her family's connections to insulate herself from the inevitable fallout of her father's failure. She seems to have known both Trump and Clinton for a long time and been good friends with both, even attending Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010. Ghislaine Maxwell began dating Jeffrey Epstein in the 1990s. She was profiled in a New York Post piece in 2000, which implied that Maxwell had used her relationship with Epstein as a strategic move to guarantee her financial prospects and propel herself higher in elite social circles. By 2003, their relationship had ended, but remained, as Epstein described it, as best friends. In a Vanity Fair article of the time, she is portrayed as Epstein's personal assistant, who organized much of his social life. This allegedly extended to procuring young girls, mostly from disadvantaged backgrounds, for Epstein and his friends to molest, as claimed in multiple civil suits brought against Epstein and his associates, such as celebrity lawyer Alan Dershowitz and Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. These allegations have been consistently denied by those under accusation, and were all settled for vast sums of money except the most recent, which is still ongoing. Maxwell is alleged to have lured girls into the sex trafficking operation with offers of modelling and fashion work or offering to pay for their education. She apparently kept photos of the girls, while Epstein is alleged to have wired his properties with secret cameras in order to record his friends in the act. Maxwell denies all of this. It is important to note that both Donald Trump and Bill Clinton are not accused of having sex with minors in any of the dozens of civil suits brought against Epstein. A case was brought against Donald Trump in 2016 by an unnamed woman who claimed he had raped her when she was 13. The unidentified woman claimed she had been raped by a man in 1994, and only in later years, after watching The Apprentice, did she come to believe that man had been Donald Trump. The case was voluntarily withdrawn by the accuser in early 2017. In the unsealed testimony from Virginia Giuffre, which we will come to later, Courthouse News reported that she stated, "I didn't physically see him, Donald Trump, have sex with any of the girls, so I can't say who he had sex with in his whole life or not, but I just know that it wasn't with me when I was with other girls." She says she never saw Trump and Epstein together, but Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump is a good friend of his. As for Trump flirting with her, something that Churcher reported, Giuffre said that this wasn't true. Donald Trump never flirted with me. Then the next sentence is, he'd laugh and tell Jeffrey, "You've got the life." I never said that to her. From what I can find, it appears that both Donald Trump and Bill Clinton are in the clear with regards to allegations of sex trafficking or sexual abuse of minors in connection to Jeffrey Epstein. In 2005, a distraught Florida woman contacted the Palm Beach Police Department, claiming that her 14-year-old stepdaughter had been molested by a wealthy, grey-haired man called Jeff, who had paid the girl $300 for a massage. The teenager in question had apparently been groomed into the task by an older girl. The girl identified Jeff as multi-millionaire hedge fund manager Jeffrey Epstein through a photo fit, and a 13-month police investigation began. The investigation uncovered Epstein's luxurious and debauched lifestyle, in which he engaged dozens of young women of dubious ages in a sexual manner. Police raided Epstein's Palm Beach mansion and discovered evidence to support the allegations. In addition, they found various sex toys, lubricants, and receipts for books with names like Slavecraft, Roadmap for Exotic Servitude Principles. Around 40 girls gave testimony against Epstein in accounts that broadly mirrored each other. A young woman would offer the girls money in order to massage Epstein, and this would lead to abusive sexual encounters in some kind of sexual pyramid scheme. Often, Epstein offered the girls to his friends. The trial concluded with then South Florida federal prosecutor Alexander Acosta offering Epstein a very generous no-prosecution plea deal on just one count of soliciting prostitution from an underage girl, and payments to his other victims. In 2008, Epstein was convicted and served only 13 months of an 18-month jail sentence, under terms which allowed him work leave from jail for 12 hours each day and the ability to employ his own security detail. Michael Rita, the former Palm Beach police chief, said that Epstein received very unusual treatment and was clearly dissatisfied with the result. After Trump became president, Acosta had been appointed to the cabinet as Labor Secretary and recently resigned as a result of the new press storm regarding his involvement with Epstein's case. The Guardian reported that the paper had seen Epstein's black book of personal contacts and said that it read like a directory of the world's global elite. Under the letter B alone are listed Tony Blair, Michael Bloomberg, and Richard Branson. Elsewhere there are multiple contacts, typically at offices, homes, and via aides' mobile phones, for Bill Clinton, Rupert Murdoch, Donald Trump, Dustin Hoffman, Naomi Campbell, and dozens of other A-listers. In 2009, a woman called Virginia Guthrie filed a lawsuit against Epstein and Maxwell, claiming the pair had recruited her at 15 while in a position at Mar-a-Lago as a towel girl to become a sex slave in Epstein's sex trafficking operation. She told the Daily Mail, "Basically, I was training to be a prostitute for him and his friends who shared his interest in young girls." She laid allegations against Epstein, Maxwell, Dershowitz, and Prince Andrew, claiming they all sexually assaulted her while she was under Florida's age of consent. All those involved denied the allegations. After a complex series of lawsuits between Dershowitz, Epstein, Maxwell, and Guthrie, the case was settled in 2015 and the files were sealed by the judge. On the 6th of July 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested at Teterboro Airport, New Jersey, on new sex trafficking charges for molesting dozens of underage girls in Florida and New York. On the 10th of July, 2,000 pages of documents previously unavailable due to court order were unsealed by a judge but were not made public. Epstein was not held in solitary confinement at this time and was reported by the Daily Beast to have a cellmate, one Nicholas Tartaglione, a former police officer charged with kidnapping and murdering 4 people in 2016. The two were reported to have got along well. On the 23rd of July, Jeffrey Epstein was found semi-conscious in a fetal position in his cell with marks on his neck after apparently attempting to commit suicide. The source of his injuries was unclear. Unconfirmed rumours suggested he had been attacked, and the Daily Mail reported that an insider claimed Epstein himself had said that someone had tried to kill him. There was no evidence to suggest that Tartaglione had anything to do with the injuries, and judging from the size of the man, it seems likely that he could have killed the 66-year-old Epstein at will. Tartaglione's lawyer claimed that he saved Epstein's life by alerting the authorities. Epstein was then placed on suicide watch to prevent such an occurrence from happening again. A week later, Epstein appeared in court to testify at a hearing in Lower Manhattan and appeared to have no visible injuries. On Friday the 9th of August 2019, the unsealed files were made public. The next day, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell. Media reports almost instantly claimed that he had committed suicide by hanging, as reported by prison authorities. He apparently was not on suicide watch at the time. At the time of writing, I have no evidence to suggest that this did not happen outside of a myriad of unsubstantiated conspiracy theories that I will not go into here. There are simply too many conflicting reports and allegations for me to be able to make head or tails of them so soon after the event, and so I'm forced to leave these for another video. The documents from the 2015-2016 defamation lawsuit from Guthrie against Maxwell were a treasure trove of allegations given under oath. These had been agitated to be opened for some time by many different parties. Alan Dershowitz had sued to try to get them unsealed, believing they would prove his innocence, and activist Mike Cernovich joined a lawsuit in order to try and get them released to the public, as reported by Courthouse News. In one 883-page exhibit collection, Guthrie testifies about orders she received from Maxwell to have sex with New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, financier Glenn Dubin, model scout Jean-Luc Brunel, former Senator George Mitchell, and others. There was, another foreign president, I can't remember his name, Guthrie said at the time, asked to list the powerful figures she had been asked to service. He was Spanish. Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, is alleged to have molested one girl, and Guthrie says that she was lent out to the prince for sex. A butler reported seeing Maxwell attempting to force a crying 15-year-old Swedish girl to have sex with Epstein against her will. Epstein's little black book was handed over to the FBI by Epstein's former Palm Beach butler Alfredo Rodriguez. Ghislaine Maxwell maintained a contact list in an approximately 100-page long hard copy, which was openly available to the other House employees, Guthrie's attorney wrote in a brief. It consisted primarily of telephone numbers, addresses, or email addresses for various personal friends, associates, employees, or personal and business connections of Epstein or Maxwell. Additionally, and importantly, there are several sections entitled Massage, alongside a geographical designation with the names of females and corresponding telephone numbers. As reported by Politico, Epstein and Maxwell apparently used their visits to Trump's private Mar-a-Lago resort to recruit girls into their sex trafficking operation. This appears to have been done surreptitiously and not with the permission of anyone who worked there. According to the documents, as reported by the New York Post, Epstein sexually assaulted a girl at the resort in 2011, and Trump banned him for life as a result. Disappointingly, it is difficult to be certain of who knew what in regards to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The two appear to be the key focal point around which the sex trafficking operation took place. Epstein was well known for being opaque about his personal life to his friends and acquaintances in his high-flying social circles. Epstein and Maxwell were well known for having tall, beautiful women around them at all times, but none of the people around him have admitted to knowing anything about the situation regarding sex trafficking, and claimed that none of the women he was publicly seen with appeared to be under 18. As already stated, there are no victims leveling allegations at either Donald Trump or Bill Clinton in regards to Epstein's operation, and Trump appears to have rejected Epstein as a friend or associate long before he became president. At the time of writing, the investigation into Epstein's death is yet to conclude, and no conspiracy theories regarding Epstein's escape or possible murderers has brought any concrete information to light. Had he survived, criminal proceedings would have continued against him, and the evidence regarding his activities would have been brought through the courts, and those people involved would have been exposed. According to former federal prosecutor and CNN contributor Renato Mariotti, Epstein's suicide ends the criminal case against him because no one else was charged in the indictment. How convenient. If I were to speculate, I would suggest that given the numerous and incredibly influential connections Epstein had, connected with the testimony from numerous alleged victims of Epstein's sex slavery operation, it is entirely possible that people with the right connections could indeed arrange to have him either killed or removed from the prison. I believe that enough wealth and influence could indeed make this happen. However, I have no evidence to suggest that this happened, or even the ability to name any suspects in this regard. So far, I have no reason to believe the Clintons were actually involved, nor do I think Donald Trump was involved. This is not to say that either party is innocent of wrongdoing, however. There are many unanswered questions in connection with Donald Trump and Clinton's journeys on Epstein's private jet, and the numerous prominent international figures who allegedly took advantage of Epstein's sex slavery services. As it stands at the moment, we do not appear to have answers to these questions. Perhaps, in the future, this information will come to light. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm sorry that I can't give you anything more concrete, but at the moment we're in quite an early stage of the investigation. I imagine I'll probably have to do a follow-up video later on in the future. As usual, all sources will be linked in the description, and as you can imagine, reports like this take a lot of time and effort to put together. I do not run corporate adverts on my channels, and I am entirely funded by donations from grateful viewers. If you would like to contribute to my channel, you can make a one-time donation on PayPal, a recurring donation on Subscribestar, purchase merch from the merch store, or donate via Bitcoin. All funds go to keeping this channel and the team behind it up and running. Thanks for watching.